Support for Just Seen It comes from Fandor, dedicated to supporting independent films and filmmakers. Movies from around the world are available at fandor.com/PTV. Fandor, all for film. 3 West Memphis teens are arrested for the murders of 3 young boys.
I'm in the woods by that little creek they call Devil's Den. I found something.
But private investigator Ron Lax doesn't feel the evidence against them adds up.
We'll need hair samples from the 2 of you.
Take it. Just take it.
While the victims' families demand answers, Lax seeks the truth in Devil's Knot.
Hi, I'm Zorianna, and I'm here today with Kevin and Liz, and we're here to talk about Devil's Knot, based on the real-life murders whose convicted felons became known as the West Memphis 3. So we've all just seen it. Liz, what do you think?
It's hard to evaluate this film on its own, considering the fact that I know that we're all big followers of the West Memphis 3 and their case and the 4 documentaries that cover the story.
One of which was Oscar nominated as well.
Right. And the first 3 Paradise Lost movies were astoundingly great in terms of quality. So when you watch this film, of course we're going to be a little bit biased. And I think that bias makes the evaluation to be objective really hard.
All right, I'll be forthright. This movie made me angry. And not for the reasons that the filmmakers probably wanted me to be angry. You know,
injustice.
Exactly. I know. I'm not angry about that injustice. I mean, I'm angry that this movie got made because there is no point to this movie. When you have so much great material already with the real life people, why create a fictitious version of that?
Well, they took just like a year of the case from, you know, the time that it happens, you know, the murders happen to when they get convicted. And that's kind of all they did. My problem with the film, there's a couple things that I appreciated about it and that I didn't like about it. For people who don't know anything about the case, and, you know, there probably are people, it's a good primer for them to maybe then either read the book or see any of the documentary.
It was just too many little pieces. It was like a Cliff's Notes of what happened.
Greatest hits.
And then it sort of ends, and then the postscript, which is the most interesting part, is relegated to a postscript.
This movie was made recently, and it's a fiction film, so why not take those advantages and capitalize on them? Why are we capping the story off at 1993? Why aren't we getting more involved in the emotional storylines of these characters? We're staying really at a distance, and that's what documentaries do. And I think maybe there's worries about libel or slander or some sort of situation where the film can't go as deep as it wants to because these people are still alive, and this case is so prevalent.
Well, then that goes to why make it?
I did like Reese Witherspoon in this, surprisingly. And I felt like there was a couple scenes that she brought it in, one when she was pulling out her hair, because that just felt kind of raw.
Good.
It was really good. And I did like, as maybe typical as this scene would be, when she went into the police station and she just started screaming at them, like, you're not doing anything. But there was such a guttural rawness to it that I totally bought it, and I felt something there.
She was well cast. I mean, she's from the South. She's a mother. Those were probably the things that she brought to the role, which made her an obvious casting choice. And everyone in the cast is good. It's just that they don't have enough to do. It's really not their fault.
But the Reese Witherspoon casting felt to me yet again of a Hollywoodizing of a historic event. I mean, it was like, oh, she was in Sweet Home Alabama. Okay, let's put her in this film. It always felt to me that she was trying, and when I see an actor try, then I get taken on the movie.
What the hell are you talking about?
Every time I spent time with him, or I fell asleep with him because he was afraid, you would blame him. He was jealous that
You shut up!
What? You won't hit me? Now that he's gone, I'm all you got left? Go ahead. Hit me.
So you have Adam Egoyan, who's made amazing films in the past. They have a very specific style to them. And I felt maybe because of this legality issue, he can use that as kind of the backdrop and then make a movie studying sort of how the town deals with this and make it fully fictionalized.
But, you know, he's done similar stories, like the Sweet Hereafter and Exotica, too, was set around a murder of this man's daughter. So he's tackled those issues before. He's always written his material, and this is not something that he wrote himself. So I don't know if that hindered him. But also, personally, I have always found him to be a slightly cold filmmaker. filmmaker.
Yeah.
And this is a type of story that you need a lot of passion and heat. And he didn't bring that. It didn't stir any of that in me at all. I didn't feel the sense of injustice and the outrage and all that stuff that I should feel. I just didn't.
It needs to be this huge story that can spend the time to focus on all those aspects, because each one of them alone I started to get into, but then we cut away to something else and I'd start to get into it. Because I could have seen a whole movie of the Reese Witherspoon character. And how do you deal with that? Because I just don't even know how you deal with that.
But I didn't need to see Colin Firth in a cafe talking to that same waitress over and over
Who's
and over.
clearly hitting on him for no
Zorianna.
reason, right? I think what this movie needs, or this story needs, David Fincher, epic, 3 hours, and it needs to go into all aspects of the case.
This film doesn't even come close to any of the documentaries. If you want real drama, real emotion, go rent one of those instead. For me, Devil's Knot is a skip it.
This story deserves something much more than what it was given. That said, it's a good primer for people who aren't familiar with the case, and then they can move on and see the documentaries because they're better. So stream it.
There's really nothing else to say, so I'm just going to say, skip it.
Well, my vote adds up to half a ticket, which is a skip it for Devil's Knot.
Cheers.
Cheers to the West Memphis 3.
May justice be served.
Well, my ticket adds up to half a ticket.